Welcome to No Room for Phonies.
Episode 126.
And we're both kind of coming off some head cold stuff, but the show must go on. So if you hear us a little raspy, that is it. But I really wanted to talk about meditation. And I personally am thinking of developing a meditation habit in 2026
That's a long time ago.
2025. No, in the new year.
In the new year.
So the first thing it says, it kind of, in a book called Just One Thing, it talks about, are you thinking of developing a meditation habit? And then he gives kind of 10 tips for developing a habit. And so he says, 1, make it simple. And 2, be realistic.
3, he says to create a trigger. And 4, know why you are doing it.
And number 5, stick with it for at least a month. And number 6, try to displace bad habits with goodness.
7, try to do it daily. Consistency and frequency is important. And 8, involve a friend or loved one.
And then number 9 is be kind to yourself. And number 10 was to keep a record. So that's just kind of tips on how to get going. I think could be a lot more than just meditation, but that's what he's talking about.
So you've read from a variety of different sources about this, right? So this isn't just one book.
No. I went through everything that I've read sort of over the past year kind of on meditation, but this particular book is called Just One Thing. And the premise of it is if you just changed one thing in your life, it can make a big difference.
And you're choosing the meditation.
And I'm just focused on the meditation. So if you
I'll do the medication, you can do the meditation.
Practice mindful meditation for 10 minutes per day is what he says, because of the following reasons: that it regulates your emotions and improves your learning and memory.
All good things. And it improves insomnia, reduces fatigue and depression.
It also reduces anxiety and stress and can regulate your blood sugar, which is interesting.
That's good. It changes the areas of the brain associated with fear and other strong emotions.
And it decreases pain perception and improves your memory. And then he also talks about mindful breathing. And he also talked about a thing called mindful moments, where randomly through the day, you shake up your normal routine and it makes you realize that you have some choices. Like I'm in this rut again of doing this. Wait a minute, I don't have to do this. I can do something else.
Just like when we drive, I take different routes sometimes.
Yes, very much. Usually you turn the wrong direction, but that's okay.
Because it's a mindful moment.
Yeah, very mindful that you have no idea where we're going. That's the mindfulness of it. So mindfulness also in nature, and to go outside and let your mind wander.
Like forest. What's it called?
Forest bathing.
Forest bathing.
But also he's just talking about getting yourself out. And that's how I'm thinking of actually starting, is by just getting up in the morning, getting dressed, going for a 20-minute walk without anything, like no headphone, no nothing, just a 20-minute mindful walk outside.
Because it'll be easier to empty your mind of thoughts
and not just sitting. I have a harder time with just the sitting part, which some people don't.
Right.
Like I was looking up pictures of meditation. They're all like the people, and I thought I can't put those.
No, so, and I think that's a stereotype that has been shaken, but at least for the younger generation.
Yes.
I think in our head we still picture that cross-legged.
So in a book called Unwind, it says that mindfulness involves intentionally doing only one thing at a time and making sure you are here for it. So mindfulness is a mental muscle that gets stronger with use. Okay. So when you're brushing your teeth, you're brushing your teeth. When you're baking, you're baking. When you're reading. Although I tend to bake and listen to a book I think there is a place in your life for just doing one thing.
Right. I guess you can make those focus on one thing a moment of meditation, because then you are tuning everything else out except for what you're doing at that moment.
Yes, what you're doing. So it's an interesting concept.
There's also, like, when you bake, you pretty much go into automatic mode.
Yes, I do.
And so the listening is
Muscle
more what
memory.
you're doing.
Yes. And then Just This is a book by Richard Rohr, who I really appreciate his work. And he says, when you meditate consistently, a sense of your autonomy and private self-importance falls away. So through contemplation, your worldview changes from fear to connection, and you develop what he calls soul awareness, from fear-driven to love-drawn, a swirling motion of love within you. So
Interesting, because you're kind of alone when you're contemplating and meditating.
Yes.
Yet he says that it's going to bring about connection.
yes,
I guess, well, it could be, if you're obsessing with fear, though, it can reduce fear. So then you leave that quiet space, and then you can connect better to people.
yes. Well, because your whole, when you look at some of the calmness, how it, reduces fear and all that with meditation or contemplation, then you are searching within yourself. You're not focused on
the
you're
other,
finding
or
that inner.
Right. So from the Japanese notion of ikigai, there are 8 things that we can think about what brings us joy and improves our well-being. So the first one is acts of kindness to others.
The second one is exercise,
which we have talked about at length about.
Yes, we have.
What exercise does. 3 is social connection.
4 is meditation.
5, time affluence.
So that means just using your time well.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 is good sleep.
7 is gratitude.
And 8 is goal setting.
Goal setting. Interesting. I was listening to a podcast recently about exercise and how good it is for REM sleep.
Yeah.
And the more you have healthy REM sleep, the more your emotional dysregulation from stress or whatever's happening during the day, the longer the REM sleep, your brain has the time to resolve the emotional issues that are dysregulating you.
Right.
Anyway, so the exercise, though, and it's not any type of exercise. It's not the aerobic. It's resistance training.
Right. So I'm going to bring in my whole, I've recently gone to a physiotherapist and had an assessment, and now I'm doing Pilates for an hour 2 times a week, and it's total resistance.
Mm-hmm.
It's with a reformer, which is in that box.
That machine, yeah.
So, and I'm telling you, I'm lost in what I'm doing. I'm not thinking about anything else when I do that. And it's pretty much all resistance.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, something to consider. So there's a book called Smarter, Not Harder. And he talks about meditation as making space for clarity, rest, and healing, because it requires you to let go of thoughts and feelings and things that weigh you down and keep you stuck.
And stillness and solitude are what's necessary for restoration and for healing.
So, you have to believe that you are allowed to heal, rest, create, and find joy. And I like this statement because he said, be the monk who can meditate at the center of chaos.
Yeah, fun.
So, and then there's a book called Be Your Best Self. And
that's the motto of our podcast.
Yes, it is. Live your best life. So a spiritual life underpins everything else in life. So your spiritual self is the place within you from which all goodness and light radiates outward. And it is where you turn from your integrity, values, and how you treat other people. So it's not about religion. It's about spirituality.
It's like your inner source of.
Right. And you find that through quiet and meditation is what he says.
And the next point that author makes is about nurturing and maintaining your spirituality. Focusing on gratitude, that shifts in your spiritual life. And faith has a lot to do with acceptance. Even when you can't control the outcome, you will be okay.
So you have to find your quiet within and learn how to just be. So create peace inside yourself, regardless of whatever else is happening, whatever the outer frenzy is, by listening to music, by tapping into nature, yoga, stretching. Be authentic for positive results, and don't compromise on your core values for anyone or anything.
Yeah, I think just to be honest, I think it's going to be harder for me than I think it might be to do this, because
I don't think it's easy. That's why they say to be kind to yourself.
You have to fill your day, because our days fill up so quickly with activities and, even habits that aren't necessarily useful. But so it's a lot of changing.
He's talking about all the scrolling we do in some ways.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then there's a book called Vagus Nerve Reset. So he says, the author of this says, your rituals should empower and energize you rather than be chores or tasks that weigh you down. They should hold space for you when you need comfort and safety, but also challenge you slightly so that your nervous system continues to expand and become more resilient. So when you're, like, my idea of this is that when I'm struggling now, I do try mindful breathing, and it does help me.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people will say, why are you sighing or breathing or whatever, which is you usually.
Well, sometimes you are just sighing. I don't know. We're in a very relaxed place, like watching TV, and all of a sudden you're sighing and breathing. So
yeah.
I understand it when
it's just mindful.
Yeah.
Whatever. So then
I find now at 2 a.m. when I can't sleep, I from that same podcast, I'm doing something, I can't remember what it's called. You take a deep breath in, and then before you release, you force yourself to take another breath in, and then you do a really slow exhale. And I do that 3 or 4 times, and I actually am able to fall back asleep sooner.
Yes. Yeah, the breathing does. So then in the same book, it talks about the tools that regulate your nervous system. So your sympathetic nervous system reacts to stress. The parasympathetic nervous system is what triggers to restore calm once you're disengaged from the threat. So it kind of restores equilibrium in the internal landscape.
So you can flip the switch between the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system through massage, meditation, again, yoga, exercise, sleep, and breath work. And don't underestimate your own power to manage your stress response.
And then there's a quote here by Pema Chodron. Meditation isn't about trying to throw ourselves away and become something better. It's about befriending who we are already.
Yeah, because I think there was a lot of movies and TV shows in the 80s and 90s where it was like, empty your mind, empty your mind.
Yes.
And that's kind of...
You can't.
No.
You have to direct your mind back then to breathing or to the beauty around you or to something else.
Right.
Like your mind is always active. And I think that
But that always frustrated me, because then I was like, I'm throwing my thoughts away.
You can't empty your mind. It's not. So another book that I read was on somatic therapy.
We need to become aware of tension in our bodies, and then we can release it.
And so then we need to grant ourselves the space and curiosity to get to know our body and listen to what it has to teach us. And I'm going to say that the Pilates has helped me with that, because the movements are slow, but I can really feel them through my body.
Yeah. Right? I don't go as often as you, but I'm starting to recognize muscles that I can actually isolate in my mind what they're doing, and my trainer says, you're actually only activating that muscle.
Yeah. So slow down and feel, and because being on the go can also be just a symptom of being in survival mode.
So cues of relaxation, soft, relaxed muscles, slow, deep, and steady breathing, a regular or a slow heartbeat, improved digestion, a normal, healthy appetite, and falling asleep easily. Wow, that's a long list.
Yeah.
Feeling refreshed after sleep, a sense of warmth and comfort, smiling or laughing easily, a calm or happy facial expression, so no resting face,
Yeah.
open, comfortable body posture instead of the tight crossed arms and legs, healthy immune function, and improved chronic pain symptoms.
Yeah.
So it's
So
really
lots of-
worth working on
And
somatic
that's all the somatic,
therapy.
right? There's lots of very free books about somatic therapy. And then there's a book called Think Like a Monk, where he talks about peace, calm, and purpose. When we fill up our lives and leaves ourselves no room to reflect, those distractions become our values by default. So he's saying reflect daily for 10 minutes in silence.
And he also teaches the key to freedom is self-awareness.
And this is Jay Shetty, who has a podcast. He has
Right.
a really good podcast. So breathe, and getting where you want to be, meditation may show you what you don't want to see. So the point of meditation is to examine what makes life challenging, because it gives you space to reflect and evaluate.
And controlled breathing is an immediate way to steady yourself, like I was saying, for nighttime. A portable tool, I like that you can use to shift your energy on the fly. Bring your awareness to calm, balance, ease, stillness, and peace.
So thankfulness, insight, meditation, breathing, exercise. May your intention to be focused and disciplined and of service. So that should be your intention in life. So, and then the bottom part, there's just a bit more, but from Richard Rohr, because he talks a lot about contemplation. So he talks about silence and solitude, meditation and reflection, mindfulness, reading and study, growth and maturity, exploring and learning, rest from work, simplicity and delight, contemplation, healthy pleasure, and service.
And he adds awakening, surrendering, listening, communing, practicing silence, solitude and prayer, resting, transforming, finding our essence, finding balance, loving others, and adapting.
Well, those are all kind of the things that come from this contemplative lifestyle.
Okay, so me with my planning analytical mind, I'd like to take one of these and then schedule out a day. I'll do one different one per day. That's
Okay, you do that. So in the book, The Untethered Soul, maybe you could read this part.
Sure. True meditation. Mediation or meditation?
Meditation.
True meditation is contemplating the source of your consciousness, contemplating the nature of self, being aware of the world, but not letting it impact you, finding the secret of the middle way.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
yeah, I like that one too. And then Radical Acceptance is another book. And she talks a lot about purposeful pausing. So, kind of like a temporary nirvana where you stop grasping after or resisting life and you weave the sacred pause into your daily life by pausing for a few moments each hour as you begin and end activities. So, that's
nice.
kind of cool.
Learn to pause. So stop, become fully present and physically still. Often the moment when we most need to pause is exactly when it feels most intolerable to do so. Stop hiding or running from our experience. Our shadow is made up of those parts of our being that we experience as unacceptable. By pausing, we respond to our circumstances in a more balanced way, a way that is effective.
So your shadow self is something that Richard Rohr talks about a lot. And I think meditation is the time when some of those thoughts come up, and then you have to deal with them. So there's 12 steps at the end of this. And
For building a practice.
So do not go it alone.
That one's interesting to me. I thought the whole point was to be alone.
I know, but she talks about in the book, having people who encourage you, or
Okay.
like you're not with them when you're meditating.
Got it.
Necessarily.
No.
So Receive wisdom. Number 2, seek wisdom for those who know and have already done what you're about to do, which is kind of what I did by going through all this reading.
Exactly. Number 3, receive feedback and correction.
And find models. So that's kind of the same kind of a
What
deal.
we've been doing. Review your patterns. Do not allow past patterns to repeat themselves.
So deal with impediments, grow in your confrontation skills, and deal with the fear that is holding you back.
Add structure and find discipline. That's part of developing the habit.
Yeah. Practice, 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 and fail. Growth is a process. A winner is a good loser.
So be easy on yourself when you don't meditate. It's like exercise.
Yeah.
Change your beliefs. Identify old beliefs and listen to how you talk to yourself. Talk back to debilitating beliefs. Monitor, challenge, and change.
And then it says to quarantine your weaknesses, learn your triggers, and protect yourself from them.
Okay. Put your vision and goals on paper. Write down the big vision and plan out small but achievable steps.
And then it says at the end, meditate and pray.
And pray.
So
Nice.
it's just, I really like the idea of a meditation practice. So I literally am going to start by the 20-minute walk outside to clear my mind in the morning and then see where it goes from there,
All right.
which is pretty simple.
Can I join you? Just walk in the opposite direction?
No, you can walk right beside me. You just can't talk to me.
Okay.
December 30th, I'm going to do my top 10 reads of 2024. I'm on book number 163.
And I'll have my top read.
Yes, you will. But I was hoping for 175 this year, so we'll see how close I get.
What are you at?
163, I think.
Still not.
Possible. Maybe not, though.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for joining us for this little jog into meditation, and maybe it will inspire you to start some kind of a practice of your own. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us for No Room for Ponies, episode 126.